Now it's just time to go over to Farron Woods and do what young Impa from the past said, and go tell the old lady in the temple what happened here, even though she probably knows. See these other Knight Riders? That's not a good name for them. But whatever. They must have seen these portals, and they must have seen Link going down into the portals. But no Loftwing will fly down there, so they must be wondering, how does he do that? He just leaps to his death. Does something, like, stop him? Something catch him? Or what? Except they're all smart enough not to try it. Except for one idiot. Enter Gorilla Idiotsburg. They must have all believed Link's tales of the surface. You can probably see through the portals. I don't know why it gives me the option to skip. I think because normally if you haven't seen these cutscenes before, Bruce flips his shit like a gorilla. Normally, if you haven't seen the cutscenes, you don't have the option to skip, but in this save file, obviously, I haven't seen the cutscenes before. But I think there's some glitch where, because I have played a game through on this save slot, and then copied a game over to it, it gives me the option to skip. That's my best theory, anyway. Link is not a mute, he just has some bad pantomime. It's implied that you, the player, talk to Groose. Oh, they have little rosy cheeks and top knots, like little cockatiels. Cockatiels are a little bit bigger with very longer tail feathers. Groose's theme again, slowing down and getting more gross. We'll call it Idiotsburg in honor of you. We'll erect a statue and then topple it. So he recaps the story for you, because you may have forgotten. Same thing that Fi can do. Basically, the whole big long story is that there was a goddess Hylia. Hylia. I always say Hylia. But in Hyrule Warriors, I said Hylia. Like helium. So there was a goddess Helium who was in this battle to protect the humans, right? And there was a demon named Demise who wanted to get his hands on the Triforce. I guess demons can get their hands on the Triforce, but a goddess cannot. Goddesses aren't allowed to use the Triforce. It doesn't work for goddesses. So the goddess Hylia decided to use the Triforce to stop Demise, to blip him out of existence, or whatever wish she wants be granted. In order to do that, she had to reincarnate herself as a human. So she looks through time and space and finds a human... Nope, there's nothing down there. And this guy tells you about... Gorko here tells you about your harp and these stones and walls and stuff. At any point, you can select, nah, don't tell me anymore, and you can exit the conversation, but I'll just whip through. Anyway, the goddess Hylia decides to have Link be the hero of time, of all her time, not the hero of time from Ocarina of Time, but to be a hero and to get the Triforce for her, because she knows it's going to be hard and locked away and lots of stuff. So she reincarnates herself as Zelda, who, incidentally, is a childhood friend of Link's. Well, one day Girahim decides to try to stop Hylia from being reincarnated as a goddess and using the Triforce. So he kidnaps her while they're out for a ride on this black tornado. She comes down here. Link, as the brave knight, is summoned by Phi, the spirit servant of the goddess, who then gives him a sword, blesses the sword, and tells him to come down here to go chase after Zelda. So he does. He goes to Farron Woods, and then Elden Volcano, and then finally Lanayru Desert, trying to catch up to Zelda when Impa from the past is taking Zelda around and having her pray at the two temples so that she can regain her memories and remember why she wanted to be a human in the first place. And then Groose is doing his little temper tantrum, 6-year-old girl thing. I'm not special. I hate everything. You're all mean. You're wrong. It's American Idol right here. I'll be bigger than all y'all. You'll see. You don't know what's good. You'll see. Yeah. Run on. Anyway, Impa takes Zelda back into the past to have her cocoon in this room behind Old Lady Impa here. And then sits outside, puppy guarding the door for 1,000 years. They never say it's 1,000 years, but that's the only time frame that really makes sense to me. So I'm just gonna call it 1,000 years. And that's why young Impa knew that she was gonna sit in front of the temple here, and that there'd be an old lady sitting there by the time Link got here. So there you go. So now he's basically working with Old Lady Impa here. And Zelda's here kind of plugged in to keep Demise from escaping the sealed ground and devouring everything and getting his hands on the Triforce. So the harp. To deal with the harp, you press up on the D-pad to whip it out, like you can do for any of these goddess butterflies things that Gorka was telling you. And then you hold down A to strum. Strumming is more about just swinging the Wii remote left and right. It's more than just rotating it so it points left and right. It's kind of a combination of the two. I find it's best to kind of keep your elbow in one place, keep your forearm straight, and then just rotate your forearm back and forth, as if it's just on some sort of pendulum. Speaking of pendulum, Impa's hair is obviously meant to look like a pendulum of a clock to symbolize all the time. Presumably her hair's all braided up and wound up inside there, because she never had time to get a haircut. Probably hasn't showered for 1,000 years either. Makes me wonder what's in these pots. Sheikah magic, don't ask. So with this goddess harp that I guess the goddess originally had, and young Impa got a hand on it and gave it to young Zelda. Zelda then gave it to Link before she went back into the past. Which I've said before is really more of a liar. Or no. Where did she get that? Zelda had that back on Skyloft. She used that for the wing ceremony. So the deal now is that although Zelda's been plugged in and lending moral support to keep Demise sealed in the ground, again, the goddess can't stop him. All she can do is seal him, and the seal's gonna give way eventually. Like it has just now, probably because you whipped out the harp. So you have to go put Demise back in a hole. And then he escapes again. Again, this is Zelda cocooned back here. If you go out this left door, Impa says, no, wrong door, but if you need to prepare yourself, you can go ahead and prepare yourself. But go through that door! But hurry, blah blah blah. This next little part's just a whole lot of cutscenes. Makes me want to skip them. I'll skip them in hero mode. But I want them to play through the first time. Oh, stop your whining. Stock up on woodland rhino beetles. Oh, good. I want a cache of 10. And that should put me over 10 for rhino beetles. So the first time you were here, there was this shaking and kicking. And all you had to do was hit this thing with a Skyward strike. Well, now it's more involved in that. By the time you get down here, Demise breaks free. But not all of Demise, it's just kind of the physical embodiment of the percentage of Demise that can escape. So this is basically what's left of him that can get through. It's just this more or less shapeless blob, just big teeth and a hole to devour things. And a ceiling spike stuck in his craw there. You have to beat him 3 times throughout the game. It's called the Imprisoned, because he was imprisoned. It's the escapee. The conventional way is to attack his toes here, and once you do, he'll electrify his foot somehow. Maybe that's like his electric blood because he's a demon? I don't know. You can also hit him with arrows when you get arrows. Aww. But it's hard to peg him with arrows because his foot's moving. By the time the arrow gets there, he's moved. There are 2 other ways to hit him. I'll show you, at least I'll attempt them in a sec here. He keeps trying to make his way up to the temple to stop Zelda. So she can't be reincarnated, so then he can get his way through and get his hands on the Triforce. Take him just a few millennia, but hey, there you go. Normally you'll want to go to the inside of this giant spiral, but this first time you're okay going on the outside. Problem is, he'll get too close to the wall, you'll get stuck. You'll have to just come back around. Any upward slice will do. Diagonally, each direction, or vertically. And once you do, he'll slide up to the next part. The second checkpoint. Oops, did not mean to go there. The problem is, when you hit these vents during the cutscene, you still move during the cutscene. It doesn't just pause the action. Oh, good. So sometimes you can see Link actually just flailing behind you. So the Imprisoned is like doing his thing. And you see Link just kind of like flop down on top of him and fall off. So that's the second way to do it. The third way is to get on top of him by going a level higher. It's easier to do it a level higher on the first 2. You have to hit him 3 times. So you hit him twice and he'll do that. Reason being that this just stops and you can't get through. So you can't get to a level higher just yet. When you jump down on top of him from a level higher, you want to lead him a little bit, because he'll walk underneath you. Oh. I was lucky. Man. It's almost better to not see target, because you get stuck. Like, you get stuck between his legs. Nope, ran out of space. I did hit that button. I did. can't see what the hell's going on. If you get 1 foot, it'll slow him down. Let's see if I get stuck. No, there's some space. So drive that ceiling spike back in there. Okay, there seems to be some real issue with the Wii remote here. Looks like a garbage disposal. Yeah, I know, just die. And the ceiling spike floats upward. Actually, I hadn't noticed that before. The ceiling spike doesn't explode with everything else. Before I do that, like I've said, it's a good game, it's fun, but the controls really take away from it. I can't give it a perfect 10 because these controls just fight you. Now instead of just a Skyward Strike, you gotta draw a shape. The shape gets more complicated every time, but it's not hard to do. It's just like a different design of triangles. Are you done shaking and crapping?
Oh. Ah. Mm-hmm.
So Impa will explain it here in a minute, but the deal is that in order to make a second gate to the past, to go retrieve Zelda, or at least stop Demise so that none of this stuff happens, or whatever, you have to power up your sword. You've got the goddess sword now, but then you start collecting sacred flames, and these sacred flames will power up the sword to make it strong enough that a Skyward Strike will open this gate. And Impa kind of punks you right here. She's like, oh, Skyward Strike will do it. Go ahead and try it. Not so fast, stupid. Looks like a Tetris block. Game of Tetris, that's what it reminds me of. So you have to go find these sacred flames to power up your sword. But they don't want just anybody powering up their sword, for whatever reason, so they make these flames accessible only to a sacred few people. In order to get to these flames, you need these gifts from the goddess, they're called. One of them help you breathe underwater. One of them's fire shield earrings that'll help you go to the hot spots, and I think the other one's claw shots. I don't really remember. You want to watch your tone with the guy with the sword? That's what I thought. In order to get these sacred gifts, you need to go into these silent realms and do these silent realm challenges. It's basically a test of Link's mettle. test of, well, like courage, wisdom, and power. But not really. It's more just a journey into Link's mind. It's kind of like the magic tree from Star Wars. And it is apparently called the magic tree in Star Wars. Yes, Fi, let's talk to Fi. Because the soundtrack from Episode 5, that track is called the magic tree. And it's kind of the same thing, too, because Link doesn't bring his sword or shield into this Silent Realm challenge, trial of spirit. So it's your weapons. You won't need them. And now Gorko has found a good spot. How many of these do I have? Probably enough. So the deal is, you don't have to strum in rhythm with anything, just strum. They give you a treasure every time. Not a good treasure, but a dumb treasure. I don't care, I don't need any treasure except for a Dusk Relic, and Dusk Relics are found in the Silent Realms. And that's all. Last layer, though, is that in order to access these Silent Realms where you can get these gifts that will unlock the door to the flames so that you can purify your sword and go back in time to save Zelda, or whatever. They're not very clear on that. You need to play a song to open the Sacred Realm. Come here. Oh. It's 20 rupees, man. It's usually not this hard. That's what she said. Anyway, next stop is Pumpkin Landing to put that harp of yours to work. Still paying off that chandelier that I attest was necessary to break to get the heart piece that doesn't do anybody else any good. It's probably since they're in these goddess chests too. Since they're in the goddess chest, you can assume that these heart pieces are for the hero. I don't want to talk to you. Well, I'm already here. So if there's one sitting on top of a chandelier that doesn't belong to you, that belongs to the hero. I'm saving reality, man. Anyway, so you delivered soup to Aegis way back at the beginning of the game, when I found it most convenient to do it. Now you have to carry pumpkins for Pum here, and his daughter Kenna. Carrying these pumpkins is usually not that hard, but I've had issues with it. Normally I can do it 9 times out of 10. Then I'll get impatient and I'll fail it like 5 times in a row.
Hi.
How did you know? Did he text you? Anyway. The goal is to carry it down to that shed there. And instead of getting a wheelbarrow, you have to carry them 5 at a time. It's kind of a game, but it's not a game because you don't win anything. The goal is just to move nice and slow. She mentioned it, but when the pumpkins start leaning left, you have to go left. When they start leaning right, you have to go right. God damn it. It just seems to be against you. You don't even move when they start falling. Alright, let's do this. Not in a hurry. If you touch a wall, these pumpkins automatically fall off and you lose. But sometimes you get lucky and you can kind of use the wall to bolster Link. When you get close to the end, you can do one last push, and you'll do okay. Because as soon as you break the plane of the end zone there, you can call it done. But this isn't nearly close enough. There we go. Whew! There's one thing done. We also need some butterflies. I think this Sheikah Stone just talks about how there are also sacred walls. Sheikah walls, I don't know. And if you draw different shapes on there, you get different prizes. So like an elongated hexagon in the shape of a rupee gets you rupees. And a heart gets you hearts, and a circle gets you bombs, and an arrow gets you arrows for your quiver. I wonder if she's in here. You have to play the harp for her next, and the harp, you accompany her while she sings, and she sings this song, playing now. Okay, now we're putting the harp to work. And that's why it's most convenient. Oh, not morning, night. That's why it's most convenient to do that plowing mission now. I wonder if she's still outside. she should tell you how she needs someone to... she just flirts with you. I could tell you how to thank me, but let's not go there.